Hey everyone, and welcome to the Harvest number 7. I'm really excited about this one. It's the last in a pretty long adventure. I'm taking regular sort of systems, regular programs, and converting them into another ECS version of those programs. I'm starting to realize that it's not always obvious why you might want to do that and what the benefits might be, and or even how that looks. So I thought for this very last one, which is the test runner, I'd go a bit deeper into exactly exactly how that conversion looks, and like kind of like as a bit of a worked example. I'm not sure how into the weeds of the code I need to get. So we'll do our best. All right. So first of all, let's have a look at how. So how test runners work in Rust is you're given a list of test descriptions and functions. So this is from the from the standard library. It's just a bunch of like names and whether it should be ignored, and then the function that should run. Aside from that, you can do whatever you want, right? You exit however you want, and run the tests however you want, and log them however you want. And this is the architecture that that just arose from playing, right? So how you might imagine, oh, okay, given this vector of tests, you might imagine saying for test in tests, run them all, and then you say, okay, yeah, that's great. Now I want to add parallelism. Now I want to group them by file. Now I want to do fancy logging or whatever. And as you build out those features, it gets complicated. I mean, as you can see here, even the very first line of the program, we're saying, well, if it's WASM, we're going to go this direction. If it's native, we're going to go that direction. That's got to do with how async works in WASM is quite different from native. And so what we've needed to do is write this completely bespoke implementation of how to handle WASM versus native tests. And so jumping into just the native one, you can see, we've got all these kind of channels we're throwing around. Those channels are used because it's like there's some, we've got some bespoke, trait called test runner. So this is kind of like trying to fit the problem as best I understand it now with the constraints I have now, and hoping that's kind of going to work in the future. It probably wouldn't. Like, I don't know, there's probably some edge case here, like running on embedded environments where I'd need to change the signature or something like that. It's quite likely. And that's often how an original design of a system can look quite nice, but it just over time kind of gets really messy because the constraints change. Okay, so that's just a little bit of a, that's kind of a standard, what I think of as a standard application. In B, the router and the the HTML templating systems, originally they were all kind of like this. It's kind of like this. I think of like traditional application architecture. You just kind of working out traits and structures as best you can as you go along. Whereas ECS is quite different because ECS is very opinionated. ECS says there's only one kind of data structure, which is a component. And then the way that we relate our entities together is through a sort of formalized kind of relationship, and so you're never making these decisions. You're never making these decisions. Oh, I need a trait here. Oh, I need a channel there, because they're standardized across application development. So let's have a look at the ECS implementation. Okay, so as you can see, it's kind of just running a basic Bevy application. So anyone who's kind of got some familiarity with Bevy would already sort of look at that and go like, okay, yeah, okay, you're sort of spawning the tests as a bunch of entities. You've got a couple of plugins. They're probably going to handle the logging and the running of the tests. Like, you sort of already get a bit of an intuition for how it works, even if you hadn't seen this code before. Now, going into the actual test plugin, now even if you don't have experience with Bevy, you might have some idea about what's going on here. Oh, okay, log that the suite's running, filter out the tests we don't need, log each case, log that each case is running, run the test in series, etc. Right? And okay, chain together, which means they're probably run in a row. So it's kind of, because you have this structure, even if you don't know much about ECS, you could probably just guess that okay, there's a bunch of systems running. And what's even more interesting, if I say like something like okay, well look, now the tests are only run in series, we want to change it to running them in parallel. Well, that's also standardized as well. Okay, so that means replacing one system with another system. So the modifiableness of the program's a lot easier to sort of understand. Yeah, so that's a bit of a sense for the high level stuff. Just to be clear, the reason why, or a reason why this is really nice, comparing this with the custom splitting of the native and WASM implementations, is because this is standard, because there's already like 1,000 Bevy apps that already have this similar cross-platform behavior. So when it comes to, for example, asking someone for help or extending it or something like that, then you're dealing with a standard problem instead of some bespoke problem. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the just for the show and tell, I think. Hey, out of curiosity, let's go into one of these just to see how they. Well, I don't know if maybe I'm overcomplicating it. I will leave it. I'll leave it at the system level. But yeah, happy to talk more about it in the Beatmash Discord if you do have any questions about how that works and how those conversions work. If you go to the Beat GitHub and just have a look at closed pull requests, you'll see tons of these. So this is the one for the test runner. The CLI went through an ECSification recently. The router is now ECS. If you look even further back, yeah, Bevy RSX. So the HTML templating, that's all now ECS, where it wasn't originally. Yeah, so there's lots of examples in this repo of taking a standard non-ECS application or a non-ECS program and converting it into an ECS one. And yeah, seeing all the benefits of it. Yeah. All right. Finally, I'm doing another little change in the branding. Really enjoyed reading this essay by Ink and Switch, just called Malleable Software. I really like this idea of malleability as a analogy for technology, saying we want something like tangible, that when you bend it, you can bend it, but it doesn't break. This kind of idea I really like. So I'm probably going to stick with malleable. I quite like that. And yeah. Oh yeah, this is also a good one. User modifiable software. This is like a real a breakdown of Smalltalk and HyperCard. So I guess two of the pioneers in malleable technology. So yeah, it's just been reading those, thinking about how to explain Beatmash, how to position it, and I guess branding. Yeah. All right, that's it for this month. Yeah, come by the Beatmash Discord if you want to say hi.